Hey, this is Purple Haze, and you're watching WGS-TV.
Hello everyone, welcome to another installment of WGS-TV right here on YouTube.com/WrestleGamer and ZFX-TV. I'm the WrestleGamer, Vujo. This is going to be the Impact Wrestling review for the week of June 20th, 2014. And boy, oh boy, guys, has TNA really flushed themselves down the toilet? We'll tell you what we're talking about in just a minute or so. First off, let me introduce a couple of the guys here. First off, host of Hardcore Wrestling Radio himself, the hardcore one, Rick Head. Rick, how you doing?
After yesterday, I think I need a lobotomy.
Yeah, I think about you and about a rest of anybody who actually witnessed Impact Wrestling here, as I am attempting to get everything just straightened out here. As we yes, it is at the time of this recording, it is a little bit of a late start, so we do apologize for that, guys. And also, ladies and gentlemen, he is the Bay Area MVP known as Will. Will, what's up?
That atrocious match. Hashtag shoot me.
Now, this week's Impact Wrestling was set to be the follow-up from Slammiversary, you know, which was basically Impact at its best, and we went from being basically Impact at its best to Impact at its worst. They opened up with MVP putting Eric Young in the title defense already, opening matchup against Kenny King. Now, I do apologize because I was late on my coverage for that. So the only thing I could tell you was from when I saw that, I saw Eric Young had rolled up Kenny King into a small package, got the victory, and then following that, MVP and company were bullying a timekeeper, and out comes basically the faces of TNA. You guys kind of get what I'm saying. You know, Samoa Joe, Austin Aries, the Wolves, Eric Young, all coming out here to make the save. But the timekeeper that was getting bullied by MVP and company. And then MVP gets absolutely livid, puts Eric Young in a second title match against Bobby Lashley, and to ensure that, you know, that he really does abuse his powers, what he was said in the promo, that he was going to basically, during the night, kick everybody out from the backstage area. Cameraman, workers, so that way nobody could come to the aid of Eric Young and save him and the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Then he also proceeds to call out Earl Hebner, who was the referee in the opening contest, and fired him for not basically pulling a Montreal screw job, Rick. And just on that opening segment, match and segment, from what I saw right there, it wasn't even 5 minutes into the show, and I was already reaching for a bottle of aspirin.
Yeah, it was TNA was going for a tailspin, and it was going down fast, and you could pretty much see where they were going with the whole show and what they were heading for the whole show. Very, very sad, very ugly. I was just, as I was reporting the show, I believe Jack Shit said watching TNA was like masturbating with razor blades.
Okay. I don't know how to respond to that, but anyway, MVP also puts the Wolves in a makes the Wolves defend their titles, the tag team titles, against Austin Aries and Samoa Joe, and a team later to be named, we find out later, is Willow and Abyss. Talk about a team that actually kind of fits together. They're both wearing masks, and they're both kind of out there, crazy and whatnot. But it came down to the Wolves. Now, you were asking me on Facebook if they had a name yet for their combination powerbomb backstabber. I've yet to hear what the Wolves, you know, what they officially dubbed that move. But that's basically what I call it, Rick, is a combination powerbomb backstabber. And that's pretty much basically what the moveset is.
Speaking of names, we have Team MVP. Has MVP even called a name for his team yet? I mean, what's going on here?
He has not. He has not, believe it or not. And that was something that said probably from the onset of the gimmick. You know, when they start putting this, this stable together, you know, it's one thing to have a stable. It's another thing to actually have a stable name to put that gimmick over. And right now, it's just basically a group. MVP, Kenny King, and Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
No gimmick to it, no nothing to it. Until they put a name on it, I am not officially sold on their gimmick, Rick.
Well, I haven't been sold on the gimmick at all. I just, like what I said, I keep on calling them Team MVP, and it's like pathetic, or I call it MVP and the lackeys. It's pathetic.
Yeah, it's pretty much what that is. I mean, Randy Orton, Ted DiBiase, and Cody Rhodes, they had a gimmick name. It was Legacy. You know, Evolution, DX, NWO. You know, WWE recently released the Factions DVD, which I have picked up, and I will get it. When I have the opportunity, I will watch and review it for you guys here. But yeah, until they have a name for that gimmick, that stable, you know, they really haven't impressed me or anything. But the tag team matchup really wasn't actually a disappointment. It was actually pretty decent. Can't say anything bad about it. But again, the Wolves hit the combination powerbomb backstabber on Willow to retain the titles, and what followed this was actually really interesting. Now, from what I was able to ascertain from this segment involving Dixie Carter and Tommy Dreamer, you all know Tommy Dreamer, you know, with the House of Hardcore, and he got permission to use some TNA talent, which I can tell you right now that worked up angle is BS. Because from my experiences here in independent wrestling, TNA does not have an exclusive clause. You know, the talent's not really exclusive to TNA. So that's why I call BS on that. I mean, we had Lance Hoyt when he was still under supposedly contract to TNA. We're doing shows here in Louisiana for us. So what kind of exclusive contract, you know, what kind of exclusive clause would they have now saying, oh, you have to have permission to use our talent or use our stars? I think that's absolutely BS. But the fact of the matter is that's what they played for this segment there, Will. But I'm going to say Tommy Dreamer pleading with Dixie Carter to do the right thing. I got to say for a moment, Dixie had me, Will. I'm not ashamed to say it because for once she actually sold an emotion in the ring during a promo.
Could somebody say Broadway? Did you really think Dixie would really buy into this? I mean,
for 5 seconds.
5 seconds that us wrestling fans will never get back. I mean, let's face it. Tommy Dreamer is not just one of the best hardcore legends, and I'm going to say he's a legend because what he said on the mic, I don't think was a shoot, was more from the heart. What he's experienced, what he's seen, even the time he was at TNA, and then when Dixie gave him, like he said, you know, that hardcore justice where ECW can get that one night to leave it all on the line because of the, for those who forgot the fuck you Vince chants, excuse my French, but, you know.
Well, Rick already mentioned masturbating with razor blades, so I think the F word is pretty much a cliche right now.
Yeah, but bottom line, I wasn't sold that Dixie was gonna turn because, I mean, Dixie is Dixie at the end of the day. Us smart wrestling fans, writers, enthusiasts know that Dixie's full of crap. And I can't really buy it until there's more sovereignty in it, but it was all a stage. I mean, Tommy Dreamer, nice guy. Dixie, go away. Just go away.
Rick, let me ask you a question, Rick. When we saw the assault by EC3 on Tommy Dreamer, you know, would that lead you to believe that they're moving EC3 away from Bully Ray and moving him on into something else? And you know, if it's with Tommy Dreamer, how long will they have Tommy Dreamer in TNA?
Well, that's a good question. First off, I want to say that segment, the Dixie and Tommy Dreamer segment, I was really hoping for a second that she would turn, because that was going to open a door for her to say, hey, gee, maybe that I'm doing a lot of mistakes. And it really would have worked well, and it would have really been that perfect door for her to turn things around. But obviously, it was all farce. It sucked. So obviously we're not going to see the foolish Dixie Carter for a long more time. I think obviously they're putting Ethan Carter as one of the headliner guys. Why? I don't know. I mean, he's not a bad wrestler, but I don't think he should be the headliner guy. So for him to be the main guy, to be putting over guys like Bully Ray, Sting, and now Tommy. No, I just don't see it. So I think that's what they're going to try to do, is try to do a match with him. How long with Tommy Dreamer? Who knows? I'm not sure what pay-per-views are coming after this. I'm not sure if they're even doing a Hardcore Justice.
Well, one thing we can take away from this week's Impact Wrestling, ladies and gentlemen, is never get in a closed-knit hallway and try to provoke Kurt Angle. I think Kenny King kind of learned that the hard way, and then he gets in the face of Bobby Lashley and saying, "What you gonna do? What you gonna?" And tell you what, if a guy like Kurt Angle is pissed off at you, I don't care who you are, where you are, or how big you are, run. That's all I'm gonna tell you. You know, that's the kind of level of respect and fear I have of Kurt Angle. Another thing, you know, following that, we also the Wolves being forced to defend the tag team titles again per the order of MVP against Magnus and Bram. But with the way the action it went in the match, Bram and Magnus attacking the Wolves with steel chairs, one would have to figure that they received marching orders from MVP for that, and so the Wolves do retain. And I got to figure, you know, Bram and Magnus continue to assault, then only for Willow and Abyss to make the same. This feud with these two teams, is, in my opinion, far from over.
It is far from over. I mean, throughout the last couple weeks, we had Bram trying to get Magnus to try to be more aggressive, and Magnus was all passive. Now, from 2 weeks ago until now, we've seen them form a cohesive unit in which they'll take matters drastically, and I think they form a good tag team. Unfortunately, it wasn't the case to where they could win the belts. I think in due time they'll maybe get tag team gold, who knows, maybe back to singles competition, but I like what they're doing to Magnus and Bram. Very good. They're both talented. More on Bram's part, but the match, bleh. I could see worse over here at Taco Bell with two guys fighting, but overall, I think Bram will step up very well. Give him time to adapt well.
TNA welcomed back a new knockout last night on Impact Wrestling. Taryn Terrell, who has been gone for a year, to have her baby parents, baby girl, as she said in the promo. And I will say this, Taryn Terrell looked magnificent. Drew McIntyre, what did you do?
Actually, it's what she did to him.
What she did to him that provoked the "what did you do"? I mean, you know, how do you blow it with someone like her, to be honest with you? But you know, Taryn Terrell looked absolutely amazing for being gone for over a year from Impact Wrestling. You know, she was welcomed back by Gail Kim, kind of teasing the idea of a rubber match. You know, last year's Slammiversary, where we had the amazing last knockout standing match between Gail Kim and Taryn Terrell. And Rick, I got to say, you know, if I could probably list my top 3 favorite knockout matches of all time in TNA, that last knockout standing match ranks well up there.
Yeah, I have to agree. Taryn Terrell and Gail Kim are probably two right now, two top knockouts in the division. TNA's knockouts, the division's really fallen far from the top, and they're right now with those two in there, they could really raise the bar again and maybe set the standard and give the other the knockouts something to show for it. I'm sorry, but Angelina Love, she just looks like like burnt plastic wrap, and
let me say this though, she doesn't look like that face to face. I can tell you that right now.
Okay, maybe she. I'm sure she does. I'm sure she's got a butter face. She may have a nice body, but her face, I don't know. Anyway, nonetheless, personally, I would like to see somebody else hold on to the title. But my point is, I would like to see those two get it on again. You're probably gonna see those two do a tag team title. Gail Kim and Taryn Terrell face the other people.
Yeah, with the winner of the tag team match, the person getting the pin becomes the champion.
Possibly, you could see it go that way. I'm not sure. You know.
It wouldn't be the first time where they had a singles title being defended and a tag team title. It's happened on numerous occasions, whether it's WWE, TNA, or independent wrestling promotions. I've seen that happen numerous times. And speaking of titles being defended, that's what we have up next. Eric Young defending the title against Lashley. Kenny King was there. Brian Hebner, the son of Earl Hebner, who was very vividly upset about what happened to his father and the humiliation and the pain that he had to go through seeing that. And of course they left the commentators. He even kicked Jeremy Borash and the backstage cameraman out before the match started, which I thought, you know, if they want to go over the top, utterly ridiculous, that's exactly what they're going for in this form, in this facet, and that's pretty much the way the matchup panned out. I mean, it was just over the top, utterly ridiculous. You know, it's not to say it's the fault of Eric Young or Lashley, because, well, maybe a little for Lashley. I'm not really gonna rag on him too much, because he really hasn't done much with the gimmick with MVP. Instead of, you know, he's basically the Batista of MVP's group, if you guys kind of get my drift. And
I think that's an insult to Batista. I hate to say it.
Well, he's definitely not the Randy Orton.
Sure.
You know, Batista. I'm sorry. Now you have me thinking Batista. Lashley spears Eric Young and gets the victory. And one thing that the man from South Park, simply known as Cartman, was chatting with me on Facebook, and I even said to myself, I would not be surprised if they had Bobby Roode show up out of nowhere and come make the save. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. Two things happened in one fell swoop. Roode comes in, makes the save, and turns face all in the same moment. Just like that. And, well, like I said, needless to say, I don't think anybody was really surprised or even shocked to see Roode return in that form.
And I'm going to say this with all due respect. If this was the opportune time for Bobby Roode to come back, this was the time. Because, as you stated, you know, MVP going paranoid mode, having everybody go out, trying to make sure that it's level playing field in his mind, when it was really more for him and Team MVP, whatever name we'll never know. But you know what? I'm very disappointed in this match, and I'm disappointed at the direction they went with this. I couldn't say I was very happy with the result, but you know, I guess that's how it works. But when Roode came back and turned face, like you also stated, it was just like, it was about time. He was suspended for Lord knows how long. He picked a great spot and a good time to come back. So I don't see Lashley having the belt too long, because I just think he's going to fill the spot for a while, and either Young gets the title back or Roode will put his bid in and he'll be the new champ as a face this time. So watch. Before the pay-per-view, just watch.
Rick, let me ask you this question. If MVP had not haven't had that injury, that torn meniscus in his knee, would MVP be in the current spot that Lashley's in right now?
Well, let me put it this way. I don't think it would have been a better choice. MVP is not worthy of a championship, world championship, and neither is Bobby Lashley. I'm sorry, neither one of these guys. What has either of these guys done to deserve a world championship? Nothing. I'm sorry. You look at Bobby Lashley. Look at his entire career. The last time we've seen him hold on to a championship was when he was in WWE's version of ECW. You know, aside from that, what has he really done in the wrestling industry that was memorable? The only thing I remember him was, I think it was WrestleMania 22 or 23, where he was like, face to Umaga. That's the only thing I can remember him doing.
Rick, I can name one if I can interject. The first person to break out of Chris Masters' Master Lock Challenge.
Wow. And where's Christopher Masters? He's not even wrestling. He's in the Indies.
He's in the Indies. There's something wrong with the Indies, Rick?
No, okay, but the point is, but he's not a world champion. He's look at the standards. I mean, come on. No disrespect to Chris Masters. No disrespect to the Indies. But again, you're having this guy the face of your company. Come on, let's be realistic here.
Yeah, you do have a point. So let's go ahead and with being realistic, and it's time for us to be realistic with our overall scores and our picks for best and worst match or segment of Impact Wrestling this week. And one thing, like I said at the onset of this review, I should say, if I can learn how to talk, is has TNA Impact really flushed themselves down the toilet by putting the TNA World Heavyweight Championship on Lashley? There are quite a few people who do agree with that sentiment about the direction that TNA is going. So one can only imagine, where, the follow-up. Where is TNA going to go now? What are they going to do next week now that one, we got the return of Bobby Roode, and two, a new TNA World Heavyweight Champion and Bobby Lashley. I've heard quite a few rumors spouting on Facebook about about both Dixie Carter and MVP getting their positions stripped from them. I'm not really sure, how valid those statements are, but those are just rumors that I've heard. Now, as it pertains to this show, I gotta say, probably the only really big highlight moment for best match of the night would have to be the triple threat match for the TNA World Tag Team Championship with Austin Aries, Samoa Joe, Willow, Abyss, and the Wolves. Really, probably the only really good, solid match out of the entire card. With I would have to, if I would have to give an honorable mention, it would have to be just for the hype that's been had. Eric Young and Bobby Lashley. Just for the hype. But as far as worst segment, again, anything to do with Dixie Carter is automatically worst segment of the night. Automatically. Hands down, no questions asked. No, she did, in my opinion, show a little bit of improvement when she sold that emotion that she was really sorry for what she did, and she was going for the embrace, the hug with Tommy Dreamer, and then she cracked him in the balls with her knee, and that pretty much led to EC3 beating Tommy Dreamer down. But a little glimmer of light from that. That's all I'm gonna say. Just a tiny little sparkle. That's all I'm gonna give it. So, with that being a tiny sparkle, it's gonna get a tiny score. It's gonna get a 2 out of 5. Rick, over to you with your overall score and your picks for best and worst match or segment of Impact Wrestling.
Well, my overall score, I think giving it 2 is
generous.
Far too generous. I'm gonna have to give this a 1.4, and that's generous. Seriously, I'll say the best match of the night, yes, was a triple tag team. Yeah, it was a great match, but I mean, come on. The fact that they had to make, both your tag team champions and your world champions fight twice in one night, come on. This whole MVP thing, abuse of power, it doesn't smell like Team Spirit. It smells like Triple H. It's like, Jesus Christ, why don't they just, and seriously, instead of having Kenny King come out and be like Randy Orton, why don't they just put a wig on him and have him be like fucking say, make him be like Stephanie McMahon. Seriously. It'll be more funny and more entertaining. Not really, but at least,
You made up your mind yet?
Seriously. It's pathetic, and I'm sorry. The best segment was when Bobby Roode hopped the fence and was ready to turn face. I only hope is that Bobby Lashley holding on to the title is a very short time, like maybe the next pay-per-view, and he loses it that fast because he doesn't deserve to hold it. He should be a transitional champion. Nothing less, nothing more. I'm done ranting.
Over the rig into the
Yep, ladies and gentlemen, and you can hear more of Rick's ranting over on Hardcore Wrestling Radio. We'll be sure to tell you when and where you can check that out on a weekly basis, as we now go to Will with his overall score and his picks for best and worst match or segment of Impact Wrestling this week. Will?
I think you both gave stupid scores. I'm sorry. I'm giving this a 0.5.
Well, sometimes you have to be a little too nice, but hey,
Yeah.
understandable.
I'll explain the 0.5 in a second. Best match, I'm on board. The Triple Threat Tag Team title match. Worst match, Lashley beating Eric Young for the TNA World title was beyond many disgusting views. Best segment, Roode jumping the rail and turning face. Worst segment, MVP throwing a fit like a 13-year-old little boy.
I thought you were going to say girl.
And no, and I have to say this, a sad honorable mention to poor Jeremy Borash, who had to leave the building like a reporter is gonna really help out in your little act to spoil the young Lashley match. Like, you really think Jeremy Borash is gonna come in and jump Lashley MVP, really?
Or a backstage cameraman?
Or a cameraman? Like, come on. Little ass Jeremy Borash. Come on. I'm gonna put this on WGS-TV. Jeremy Borash. We don't talk about Jeremy Borash. Cool, really? Go ahead.
Well, let me just say this. When was actually the very last time we actually mentioned the name Jeremy Borash, either here on WGS-TV or over on Rick's show on Hardcore Wrestling Radio? Probably. Go ahead.
That was TNA's plan. They wanted people to do hashtag Jeremy Borash because TNA was fucking up that bad. That was their plan. That was their master plan. Everybody, hashtag Jeremy Borash. Hashtag Jeremy Borash.
Well, it's time for our master plan, and our master plan here on WGS-TV is to find out what you guys out there have to say about Impact Wrestling this week. What are your overall scores? What are your picks for best and worst match or segment of Impact Wrestling this week? What are your reactions to Bobby Lashley becoming the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion? Your reactions on the return of Bobby Roode and the face turn of Bobby Roode. And your thoughts on the appearance of Tommy Dreamer on this week's Impact Wrestling. We definitely want to know what you guys have to say out there. Be sure you put your comments in the comments section below. Don't forget to like and favorite this video. And you guys, you've been hearing it throughout the course of this review. Rick, where can fans check you out on HWR?
Well, of course, you can always find us over on our Daily Motion page. That's dailymotion.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio. And please, check us out on our Facebook page. That's Facebook.com/Hardcore Wrestling Radio.
And yes, ladies and gentlemen, a man who's had second thoughts about Vicky Guerrero after her encounter with Stephanie McMahon on Monday Night Raw. The Bay Area MVP, known as Will, is over on the hood. Will, what you got? Hey, at least I didn't honorably mention believing.
Walkers don't scream, do they?
Yeah. I've been out of the loop for a while, Hardcore Wrestling Radio fans, then WGS-TV fans. I've been trying to get this new show up on Hardcore Wrestling Radio called HWR Fan Submit, so unfortunately I will not be here in the next 3 days. I'm going out of town, so hopefully the incomparable Lance Moss and James from the Big Easy, who is not here, will do a good show in my absence. And 2 more months to NFL football preseason, folks. We're almost here. And tomorrow will officially be the summer. So hit the beaches, hit the pools.
The Niners are going down this year.
We're coming to your house and beat you.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Fans, also, don't forget to like the Facebook page, facebook.com/WGS-TV, and don't forget to please subscribe to youtube.com/WrestleGamer and youtube.com/ZepXTV Network. So, for the hardcore host, Rick Head, and the Bay Area MVP known as Will, I'm the Russell Gamer. Don't be Bully Boudreaux saying, thank you very much for watching, and Dixie Carter, what in the hell is wrong with you?
She had another shot and dreamed about Rick.
Andy would be mad.
This is the unofficial spokesperson for TNA. Please, hashtag Jeremy Borash. Thank you.
Oh.
Dirty as hell, but we ain't got much time. Get everything you can.